Konbanwa, Mina. Genki desu ka? Deja vu. How is everybody? I thought I'd open up with Japanese. What's going on, guys? What's going on, everybody? How is everybody tonight? Let's see. Cup, hello. Steven, hello. That guy, hello. Annie, hello. How is everybody? Mic check, mic check, mic check. Can you guys hear me? Maritime, hello. What's going on, guys? How is everybody on this beautiful Sunday evening? All right, everything looks good. Great. Let's see here. That guy, loud and clear, Sam. Awesome. Maritime Gamer, the Troll Master, Sam. Well, come on. I like to pull jokes. Okay. I mean, come on. I just like to have fun. Let's see. Chris, hello. Indingo, hello. Charlie, hello. I love your content. Your channel has taught me so much. Thank you so much, Charlie. Says, welcome to the stream. Hey, Sam. Hey, everyone. Hey, Says. Hope you guys are doing good. So, I've got a surprise for some of you. You guys may have seen it briefly on my community page earlier today, but I took it down almost immediately because I'm like, I want to keep the mystery alive a little bit, but I'm sure some of you saw it. So my next video is going to be my first non-maritime related video since my Pompeii video years ago. I've got a non-maritime related topic that I am going to be covering in my next video. And I think you guys are going to like it. I'm going to give you a hint, okay? I mentioned this story to you guys in my live stream, I think either 2 or 3 weeks ago. I can't remember exactly. But when I told you guys about it, I told you I'd never heard of this story. And it blew my mind when I heard it. I'm like, that is absolutely crazy. You know, here's a hint. It's a survival story. It's a survival story from somebody who made it through one of the darkest days in U.S. history. There's your hint, okay? There's your hint. It's a survival story from someone who made it through one of the darkest days in U.S. history. There it comes. 9/11. Yeah. All right. You guys figured that out really quick. But I'm doing a video about a 9/11 survivor and what he experienced and what he went through. He has one of the craziest survival stories that I've ever seen. So that is his story is what I'm going to be telling in the next video. Yep. Let's see here. Molly says, hello, Sam. I really enjoy your videos. Maybe you could do a video on the sinking of the Achi Laro. The guitarist from the Oceanus, Moss Hill, was on the ship and helped people off it too. You know, I heard that guy was on another shipwreck, but I didn't know it was that one. Very interesting. Holy cow. Yeah, I can you imagine what that guy was thinking? Like, he was on one shipwreck with this crazy captain, then he was on board another shipwreck. That's absolutely insane. But yeah, I will definitely check that out. Thank you so much. Captain Jalen, when is the video coming out? I have started working on the script. I've got the intro written down, okay? I've gotten the intro written down. I'm still collecting all my notes and everything. Like, I'm nowhere near as familiar with 9/11 as I am, like, the Titanic or something. But so I've got to get the details. I got to double check things. And so I'm shooting for, it'll be this week. It'll be this week sometime. I haven't started filming yet. I'll probably finish up my notes and get all my screen capture and photos tomorrow. And I'll probably start filming Tuesday, which depending on how long the video is, I have no idea how long it's going to be. I'd say probably in the 10-minute range. So I'd say Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, somewhere around there. Somewhere around there. That's typically what I do anyway. Wait, we got a 5 from Garth for Super Chat of the night. Thank you so much. Do you have the Miracle on the Hudson on your list? Have you thought about putting the list on the community tab? The list is huge. Okay? Like, no joke. The list is absolutely huge. I need to do that. The Miracle on the Hudson is definitely something that I am going to cover. I'm wanting to branch into airplane stuff. Just before I went live, like 2 hours ago, I watched a crazy documentary. How many of y'all know about the Concorde fire? It was a Concorde plane that was taking off, I think, from somewhere in France. and the plane hit a piece of metal that was on the runway that fell off of another plane, and it caught the engine on fire. So yeah, I knew there was a Concorde fire, but I didn't know all the details with it. And I watched this documentary, and I'm like, holy cow. Dustin, oh yes, it was Air France. Yeah. So I was thinking about doing a video on that. Like, aviation stuff is an interest of mine. I love aviation stuff. In fact, I flew my first airplane a couple of years ago. That was fun. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be branching more into aviation stuff. I did do the Hindenburg video, so I did do that. Cora, too, thank you so much. Sam, I finally got a copy of On a Sea of Glass. Awesome, Cora. I hope you enjoy it. It is a fantastic book. Maritime, what about the Carmania post on your community page? Okay, so about the Carmania. Oh, wait, hold on. There was another super chat. Indingo3, thank you. Will you review the blow-up door thing? Probably not. If you ever see that in a video, I will probably just be joking around with it in like a historic hangout video or something. But yeah, not right away. I'm not gonna do a review. Maritime, oh no. Okay, so the thing about the Carmania, all right. It was I did my notes. I did my script based on what I could find online about this particular incident. And then I found a video covering the event with the Carmania that I'm going to talk about. And I discovered that my notes were missing so much detail. And I'm like, okay, pause on this for a moment. I'm just going to pause on this for a moment until I can revise my notes and everything. I am going to do it. But I also love this story so much. Like, it's one of the most crazy maritime history stories that I've ever seen, that I actually want to, I want this animated. Okay. I want to hire an animator for this. Like, this story is absolutely insane. So I'm going to hire an animator to do some stuff with this. So I'm going to treat this video just like I am my Queen Mary series and everything. Like, it's absolutely crazy. Maritime, the fight. Yeah, I think you know what I'm referencing. The time that Germany tried to disguise a ship to look like a British ship, and then the first ship they encountered was the ship that they were pretending to be. I mean, who makes this? You can't make this stuff up. You absolutely, yeah, the Captrol Flogger, something like that. Yeah, I know, you can't make this stuff up. Like, I mean, Sabrina, they did what now? So yeah, during World War I, it was off the coast of South America. Germany took one of their ocean liners, the Captrol Flogger, and what they did was they disguised it as a British ship. That way they could use it to try to sneak up on, other Allied ships and launch sneak attacks. And anyway, the very first ship that this German ship encountered was the ship that they were pretending to be. And they were very confused for a while, and they were at this very small island. And just pretend that these two ships are them, just for reference, okay? And the two ships were they were each like circling the island, with one ship going this way and one ship going this way. They were talking to each other on wireless and all this other stuff to try to figure out what was going on. And I thought at first that it was I thought at first that the British ship opened fire on it immediately, but it wasn't like that. It was more like the the German captain and the British captains, like, they talked and they agreed to do this, like, kind of like the Old West, you know, what's the word? Like a duel. Yeah, there we go. A duel. And so both ships went out, and then, yeah, they opened fire, and it was just, it's one of the craziest things that I had ever read about. So, 1v1, yeah. It was one of the craziest things that I'd ever read about and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, I need to do a video about this. So I'm going to do it right, though. So it's going to take some time, but I'm not going to have it just be a whatever video, like what I like. Well, no, I don't say whatever, but I don't want it to be just pictures and stuff. I want to get some animations. I want to make it very high production quality and everything. So you guys wait till you see what's happening with Queen Mary. Oh, Queen Mary is the animation work for Queen Mary. It's coming along. And you guys are absolutely going to love it when it's done. Fender 5, thank you so much. Sam, you could always reach out to Brightside and see if you collaborate with their animator on a video. I would not let Brightside anywhere near my videos, okay? I am not going to let Brightside anywhere near any of the stuff that I've done. You know, my last video, the one with, like, could you climb onto the iceberg and everything, I was looking for images and everything, like, to put into the video, and I came across a drawing that looked like it was from a kid's book, okay? And I almost put it in the video. I'm like, oh, this is really, like, it's a cute little drawing and everything like that. And then I saw where it came from. Brightside. I'm like, nope. Nope. Is that a thumbnail for one of their videos? Okay, I didn't know they made a video on that. I didn't know they actually, so did they make a video about climbing on the iceberg? They actually did that? I didn't know that. I didn't know that they, typically what I do for a lot of my images, I just go to Google Image and look stuff up. But I did not know that they did that. We should watch that. We should legit watch that video and then compare it to mine and see what they say. We should totally do that. We should totally do that. Thanks for the 5, Fender. Jalen, too. Thank you so much. Hey, Sam, what are your thoughts on the Seawall disaster? Where do I begin? Where do I begin with that? So, I've talked about this before, but my video that I did a while back on the Oceanos, originally, that was going to be a video where I briefly go over 3 different shipwrecks. I was planning to briefly go over the Costa Concordia again, the Oceanos, and the Seawall. And when I was watching, I found a documentary about the Seawall. Like, okay. So I thought going into, like, I knew that it was a South Korean ferry. I knew it sank and it had a great loss of life. I knew that the captain and the crew acted terrible. They told the kids to stay in place, like high school students, I think. They told them to stay in place and everything. I mean, absolutely terrible. Then they left. But man, I mean, it went way beyond just the terrible actions of the crew. I mean, you had mistakes with the military. You had mistakes with the South Korean government. I mean, like, the scale of that was way beyond what I thought it was. And I'm like, I can't do this in 5 minutes. Like, this has got to be, like, did you all know? Okay, so the South Korean president, I forgot her name, but anyway, she was there while the ferry was upside down. Like, she got there before it sank. And the military or their Coast Guard or whatever, the rescue team, okay, they told her that they were trying to pump air inside of the ship to lift it up, like to put an air pocket in it. And all they did was they took a air hose and then just secured it to the outside of the ship. So all that was doing was just blowing air into the ocean. It was just coming up as air bubbles. They were doing it to make it, like, seem like they were doing something to help when they weren't doing anything, because they knew that all eyes were on them. And I'm like, he's like, you got to do something. You got to do something because the president's watching. And I'm like, what? So, yeah, like, I mean, and then they were misleading the families, and it's a whole, like, you can see what I mean. It goes way beyond just the bad actions of the crew. And, oh yeah, and the people that designed the Seawall, it was extremely top-heavy. It did not follow design specifications. They overloaded the ship, very prone to tipping. Okay, so let me ask you guys something, okay? Just pretend that this is the Seawall, okay? Just pretend this is the Seawall, okay? And you all are on board, all right? You are in your room, and the ship is leaning like this. The ship is listing this far over. And an intercom is saying, stay in your rooms, don't move around. What would you all do? And the ship is leaning like this. And it's staying in place. What would you guys do? I mean, yeah. I mean, that's... And you guys want to know something else that's even more insane about that? So a lot of the students wanted to leave. A lot of the students wanted to get out of there. But since the ship was blaring, like through its announcement system, somebody was screaming, stay in your room, do not try to leave. And when some of the high school students tried to leave, their teachers that were with them told them to stay in place. They said, the crew knows what they're doing, so stay here. I'm like, holy, like I just, I mean, like, yeah. So, I mean, it's, that whole thing is just absolutely like, there, so much happened. So much happened. So much bad stuff happened. Like the crew and just, anyway, the response was terrible. So yeah, Dustin, Sam, save a rage meter. Yeah. So Alfie says best teachers in the world. Not. Well, here's the thing. The teachers didn't know. I mean, like they didn't know. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them aren't ship experts. And I think the intercom was saying, like, you've got to stay where you are. If anybody tries to go, like, to get up on deck and leave and everything, then you'll risk making the ship tip even further. So stay where you are, because by you staying in place, you're going to slow down the rate at which the ship was sinking. And the teachers thought that the teachers thought that rescue was going to come for them at any moment. I mean, it's absolutely like, it's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. And okay, the chat is going absolutely bonkers as I can see. And all right, guys, we made it 16 minutes before I had to engage the slow mode. Slow mode activate. Slow mode activate. So we made it 16 minutes before slow mode needed to be turned on. So there we go. Sorry, guys. So, oh, slow mode is officially activated. What we got? Let's see here. Crazy says, Sam, have you heard about Hurricane Hillary hitting California? Is there a hurricane hitting California right now? No, I didn't see that. Only thing I've been watching on the news is what's been going on in Hawaii. It's absolutely insane, absolutely terrible. But I have been following. I've been keeping an eye on that. I didn't know that something was happening in California. Maritime fun fact: tomorrow is Captain Bartlett and 6th Officer Moody's birthday. Also, yesterday was the 79th anniversary of the sinking of the Tamatsu Maru, the 9th deadliest maritime disaster. The Tamatsu Maru. I'm not familiar with it. Tamatsu Maru. Is it a Japanese ship? Tamatsu Maru ship. Tamatsu Maru, the World War II, lost. Fate sunk July 19, 1944. So it was a warship, a Japanese warship. I'm not familiar with it, but I will definitely look into that, Maritime. I will definitely look into that. Thanks for letting me know about it. Landing craft depot ship. Oh, cool. Thanks for telling me. Let's see here. Carlos, hey Sam, do you know about the 9/11 footage of the World Trade Center Plaza song? She's always a woman playing as the towers are burning. It's like the World Trade Center's near my God to thee. You're talking about that that eerie, like you're talking about the music that was playing through the. It's like what they played in the lobby, right? And then like they played it in the like the little plaza area between the two towers. Yeah, I know about that. Very, very eerie. So like it's like they forgot to turn that off. They forgot to turn off the lobby music or whatever. Yeah, absolutely unsettling. I found a 2-hour video on YouTube that actually, it's no commentary. It's just like news footage and everything from 9/11, like as it was happening. And I saw that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I've told you guys this before, but like, so I barely remember 9/11 because I was 10 years old at the time it happened. And as far as I can recall, my teachers didn't turn it on TV. I don't remember seeing anything about it, like, because I was in school at the time. And the only thing that I remember from that day is my mom picking me up after school let out. And she told me that America had been attacked and that some terrorists flew some airplanes into buildings. But the scale of it went right over my head. Like, I didn't understand. You know, I was too young. So I remember Columbia a little bit better, like the Space Shuttle Columbia when that burned up. I think that was in 2003. I do have more memory of that, but I was a little older. But that's all I remember from 9/11. That's all I remember is, to me, 9/11 is like my grandmother with Pearl Harbor. She was a really little girl at the time, and she remembers that it happened, and she remembers hearing about it in the newspaper and her parents talking about it. But she, she just, that's all she knows. She said she also remembers, because she has a brother. She had an older brother at the time. And she remembers her dad going, they're going to war. We're going to war, because the U.S. hadn't gotten involved yet. But that's all that they remember. Like, yeah, that's how it is. 9/11 is to me what Pearl Harbor is to my grandmother. We don't really remember it that well. We just have a few flashing memories of it. Definitely one of the darkest days in U.S. history. No doubt about that. I saw somebody say, I lost it, but I saw somebody say, do you remember Challenger? And sorry, I lost your message, but I wasn't alive when Challenger happened. Okay. I wasn't alive when Challenger happened. I think that was 1986. Double check me, guys. What was the year Challenger happened? I think it was 1986. But yeah, I wasn't alive yet when that happened. So, July 28th, 1986. Thanks, that guy. But yeah, I wasn't. My parents remember it. My parents were watching it on TV. My parents were watching it on TV when that happened, and but yeah, I was not alive I wasn't alive at the time. We got another super chat, 10 from Tracy. No comment, but thank you so much for the 10, Tracy. Super appreciate you. We got another 10 from Crazy. Thank you. Hello, Sam. Hello, Crazy. Love what you do. What are your thoughts on J. Bruce Ismay after Titanic? Do you think he deserved the treatment he got? How do you feel of him being portrayed in films? Why is he so hated? Okay, so Crazy. Great question. And no, Ismay does not deserve all of the hate he gets. He doesn't. But that being said, he essentially painted a bullseye on himself. I mean, there is every mistake you could make following the disaster. I mean, he did not make himself look good at all. And he basically gave himself a free ride to be attacked by the media. I mean, so Ismay was on board the Titanic throughout nearly the entire sinking. Okay? He did not leave the Titanic until Collapsible Sea launched at somewhere, 2:03 a.m., something like that. It was very late in the disaster, okay? I think it was 2:03. Anyway, Maritime 2. Okay. Okay, 2. I'm like, every time I say a time or something, I'm like, Maritime is going to say something in 3, 2, 1, and boop. There's Maritime. I got to give you a hard time, Maritime. But anyway, so I mean, Ismay did try to help out. He had that one brief encounter with was it Lowe? I think it was Lowe. Yeah, where Ismay Ismay had a bit of a freak out moment, and he started screaming like, "Lower these boats! Lower these boats! Lower away! Lower away!" He was absolutely freaking out. And then Lowe walked up to him and basically yelled at him. He's like, "Do you want me to drown the lot of them?" And then Ismay went he came back at Lowe. He said, "Do you have any idea who I am?" And at that point, Lowe snapped. And he said, "You're a passenger and I'm a ship's bloody officer. Now do as you're told." And at that point, Ismay just went, yeah, quite right. I'm sorry. Ismay knew he was in the wrong. He calmed down. And honestly, I think that was good on Ismay to realize that he made a mistake and, that he did calm down, because that was complete insubordination from Lowe. But, Ismay, he recognized that he made a mistake. So I think that shows good character on his part, honestly, a lot of people in charge of companies would they'd fire that guy in 2 seconds for doing something like that. But anyway, besides that one thing, I can't think of anything that Ismay did, that was negative. He was encouraging people to escape and, flee and all that stuff. So after he got into Collapsible Sea, there is some debate on if he got in on his own or if he was ordered into the boat. But based on how Murdoch was, I think Murdoch ordered him in. That's what I think. I think Murdoch ordered him in. So after the Titanic sank and everything, within the next day or two, I don't know exactly when the message was sent, but a wireless message was sent from the Carpathia to the White Star Line offices back in the UK. And the message was from Ismay, and he said to have another ship in New York ready to bring him back to England as soon as he got there. Like, he wanted to get to New York on the Carpathia, get off the ship, get on another ship, and leave immediately. And he tried to disguise it, okay? He tried to disguise that the letter was sent from him by spelling his last name backwards. Yeah, Yamsey. Yeah, you got it, Tina. Yeah, Yamsey. And, like, so the police had to scramble because they wanted to grab him for the inquiry. So, I mean, he really painted a bullseye on himself. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, Ismay didn't really do anything wrong during the sinking. I don't think he acted like a coward or anything. He just had a freak out moment. But he didn't look good. Okay. Yeah, like, that's all I'm saying. Do you guys get what I'm saying? He basically put a big bullseye on himself for the media and everything like that. But he does not deserve all the hate. He doesn't deserve all the hate, that's for sure, but I get why it happened. Lego says, did you get a letter in your P.O. box? I haven't been back to my P.O. box in about 2 or 3 weeks. Last time I went, about 2 weeks. Last time I went to the P.O. box was when I did my last mail time. So if there's anything new there, I haven't been there yet. But I'll go and check on that before too long. I usually go and check the P.O. box like once a month. And I started talking about that, and man, we've had some pretty long like things to talk about this evening, like the Seawall and Ismay and all that stuff. So yeah, we've been sorry about that, guys. Larry 5, thank you. Hey Sam, could you do a video on Titanic second class? It often gets overlooked. Yes, Larry. So that is on the list, and I am going to cover that because people never talk about second class. I am going to cover it at some point. It's not in my immediate list of plans, but I am going to get to it, Larry. Thank you for the 5. Super appreciate you, man. Michael, 10, thank you so much. Hi, Sam. Were the Titanic's lifeboats deliberately waiting to go back? Hi, Sam. Were the Titanic's lifeboats deliberately waiting to go back so half the survivors would already be dead, thus allowing them to rescue hundreds more without being swamped? Then they waited too long. Michael, you are, that is one of the, darkest things to think about with Titanic. I mean, no joke, it is. And to answer your question, Lifeboat 4 and 14, the ones that did go back, yeah, they did. They waited until they were worried about being swamped, because the boats didn't have room for 1,500 people. They could only save, around 100 or so. And they knew that if they went back right after the sink, well, initially they were pulling away from the ship because of the suction. They were worried about the suction. But right after the Titanic sank, they did not go right back because it's just like it went like when you're a lifeguard. Like the biggest risk to lifeguards is when they try to save someone who's drowning, but the person who's drowning, they're panicking and they're freaking out. Well, if the lifeguard isn't careful, they can also drown with the person they're trying to save. So they were trying to avoid that kind of a situation, like if those boats went back into that crowd of people right after the ship sank, they would have been swamped. I mean, there's no other word for it. It's awful, it's awful to think about, but they had to do it. They could not go back into that crowd, right after. I mean, I hate saying that. I hate thinking that, but if they did, they would have been swamped. They would have been swamped and the boats would have sunk. But their plan was to wait a little bit and then go in, but they did wait too long. They did wait too long to go into the area, to do it. And how many were rescued? 4, 5, 6, something like that. Very few were alive at the time that they went back. They rescued the man from that was from China. They found him balancing on some tabling, on like a table or something. But they found him, and there were a few others, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. But Pro 4, but 1 died. Okay, Pro. And then they also rescued the people from collapsible A and B. That also happened around that time. But it's really sad. And I mean, can you imagine having to be in that situation, having to make that choice and that decision? I mean, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. Dr. Titanic 10, thank you. Let's see here. Dr. T's 10, thank you. My uncle's Titanic theory is crazy. He thinks that one plane from 9/11 went through a wormhole and ended up in 19 what? I don't know, like, if you're don't it's not appropriate to joke about that stuff, okay? I appreciate the super chat and okay, but I'm moving on from that. It's not appropriate to joke about that kind of stuff. Thanks for the 10, Dr. Titanic. Chris 10, thank you. Sam, I'm a fellow Titanic historian. I've seen your videos on the lock gates. However, I reviewed a 1986-87 Nautilus footage. And what are your and there are closed gates in the bow. What are your thoughts? Closed gates on the bow. So I have not seen what you're referring to. Where is that book? Where is it? Okay. So my whole thing on the closed gate is I pulled it from here. Okay. This is my source material for my video on the closed gates. And there are reports on closed gates. From what I've read in this book, there were closed gates and everything like that. All right. But the main pathways, main ways that steerage passengers were expected to get up onto the boat deck and everything, those areas were open. The biggest issue was, they just didn't know. There wasn't a proper, like, the third class's muster stations. They were supposed to go to, I don't know if they were supposed to go to the forward well deck, but I know they were supposed to go to the aft well deck. Like, they were supposed to be right around here, but maybe they were supposed to go here. I haven't heard that. Double check me. But anyway, I knew they were supposed to be there. And that's where they went. But the crew, they did open up doors and gates and passageways to get them up to the boat deck and everything. Scotland Road. Yeah, the Scotland Road. But all the main ones were opened. Okay. The testimony I read about the lock gates, as they mentioned in here, several third-class passengers did talk about lock gates, but apparently from what they said, that they weren't very specific on where exactly all the lock gates were. So the conclusion was there were most likely locked gates that night, but if they were on the main pass that they should be on, they wouldn't have encountered them. It wasn't a situation like where the Titanic's crew intentionally locked the third-class passengers below deck. My best guess as to what happened was there may have been some lock gates that were off the beaten path, and the third-class passengers accidentally ended up in that area, and there was no one around to let them up. That I could see that happening. I could totally see that happening. But I've never seen anything like concrete based on like what we see in the movie, where the poor third-class passengers locked below deck and the crew is standing there, blocking them and aiming guns at them and all. I haven't seen any of that. I haven't seen evidence of that as referenced in here. I'd love to be proven wrong. Like if I'm wrong about that, please send me some testimony or something about it. I like to read it, but I've never encountered that. So I don't think that was the case. I think it was just accidents, and it was, few and far between on cases where people were locked below decks, That's good question, though. Very, very good question. Jalen 10, thank you. Sam, ultimate question time. Really, really prepare yourself. Okay. Let's do this. If Andrews automatically knew the Titanic was sinking, the lifeboats were launched, but Titanic had 2 hours of life, what would the remaining people do? So wait. Sam, ultimate question time. Really, really think first. If Andrews automatically knew the Titanic was sinking, the lifeboats were launched, the Titanic had 2 hours of life. So you mean after all the boats were launched, all the people that were on the boats escaped, and they had 2 more hours, what would they do? Well, Carpathia would have gotten there. Oh, wait. You're saying that, well, okay, they couldn't have launched the boats. Like, they couldn't have launched the boats immediately, like, after. They couldn't have done that, because it takes time to prep them and everything. But if you're assuming, like, I'm a little confused on what you're asking directly. Are you saying that, like, Are you saying like they have 2 hours left after all the boats are gone? Because if that happened, then Titanic would survive a little over 4 hours, and then Carpathia would have made it there in time and saved a lot more people. If they had 2 hours left and all the boats were gone, they would probably... I know what I would do if I was captain. I would have them go start ripping doors off hinges and building like rudimentary rafts. You'd have to put like life jackets underneath them to give them a little bit more buoyancy. But I mean, yeah, there's things you can do. There's things you like. There's all kinds of things you can do. There's ways to do that. There's ways to do all that stuff. You know. Thank you for the 10, Jalen. Let's see. Fender 10, thank you so much. Would you consider starting another channel and simply post a video of you reading the Bible? Since I can't have Morgan Freeman read the Bible, I thought I'd ask you the next best narrator. Okay, thanks, I think. Okay, so I mean, just, I don't care to talk about it. I mean, I'm a Christian guy. That's what I believe in, everything. I believe in the Bible. I believe in Jesus and all that. But I'm not really, like, I don't really do stuff on that stuff. Like, I don't do content on religious stuff. That's not what I do. That's not my kind of content on YouTube. So I appreciate it, but I'm not going to go into that. But thanks, I guess. Thanks for the 10. But yeah. We got that one. We got that one. Post 5, thank you. Hey Sam, do you know which direction Titanic's wreck is facing? As in north, south, northeast, etc. Also, what direction was she facing when she sank? So she hit the berg, I believe, north by northeast, I think. So she was going east when she hit the berg, or no, she was going west when she hit the berg, and then she hit the iceberg. And then she did turn a little bit. North by northwest. I think it's north by northwest a little. Like, she is turned a little bit. Facing. Nah, there's a bit of north there. It did turn. The ship did turn a little bit, you know, following the collision and everything. So I think she's facing north, like north by northwest. So west, a little bit of north, I think. So what I think, and the way the ship was facing, at least the bow part, it really wouldn't have changed all that much after she left the surface, you know, because the ship, like the way that the Titanic was going down, the bow was slicing through the ocean under the water, just like she was on the surface, you know, like if she's sailing through the water. So where the bow was still in more or less okay shape, you know, it was going down rudiment, like more or less stable. So the bow didn't like change directions all that much with the way she was going down. So the wreck is still facing, at least the bow is, in the same direction for the most part that she was on the surface. So we got that one. We got that one. Okay, I think we are all caught up. Thank you for the 5 post. Not only the bow didn't change angles when it went underwater. Yeah. Just because, you know, she was more or less, you know, what's the right term? Like hydrodynamically stable or something like that. Yeah. She basically just fell to the bottom. This painting does a good job of showing it. Painting done by a supporter of the channel. But yeah, she basically just free fell to the bottom of the ocean, and she kind of planed forward a little bit as she went down. So it's like, let's do it like this, okay? The bow went down 10 paces, but she went forward 1 pace, all right? So down and forward. That's basically how it happened. So, yeah. That's how it went down. This painting's a good way to show that. There we go. Down and forward. But down 10, forward 1. There we go. Oh, okay. We got that one. We got that one. Let's see. Esther 5, thank you so much. Hi, Sam. This is Ben on my mom's account. Okay. Hi, Ben. Does your mom know you're on her account? Thank you for the 5. Could you do a video on the Shackleton in Antarctica? I love your videos. You've inspired me. Thank you. Thank you so much, man. And yes, I have been planning to do the Shackleton expedition for a very long time. I will get to it. I promise. I even hired an animator to do some animations for me, which I've got. I just didn't get around to doing it. But yes, the Shackleton expedition is on my list. I will get to it very soon. Don't worry. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Let's see here. 2 from Jalen. Thank you so much. The ghost is back and is behind you, Sam. Fight and run. I absolutely had to do it. I hope I don't get copyrighted for that. I knew it. Yes, mean. Nice Ghostbusters. Only you, Lord. It's something strange dun, dun, in the neighborhood. Dun, dun. Who you gonna call? Man. Ghostbusters 1, masterpiece. Ghostbusters 2, while not as good as the first, it was okay. It was okay. Bill Murray, one of the greatest actors of all time. One of the best. Listen, how many of you all okay, seriously, in Zombieland, when the guy shot Bill Murray, I'm like, you don't shoot Bill Murray. I'm like, dude, you don't. Oh gosh. I mean, and then after he was shot, the guy, I think it was the guy who always was after the Twinkie, and he touched it or something, and Bill Murray goes, that's very tender. So just I'm like anyway, I need to go back and rewatch that movie again. It was really good. It was funny, it was a silly zombie movie and I liked it. We got 10 from Tracy. Hi, thank you so much. Hi, Sam. I'm new to your channel. Great content. Thank you so much. I'm curious about the deck chairs behind you from Titanic. Thanks. I wish they were from Titanic, but no, they're the second best thing, Tracy. So this deck chair is a White Star Line deck chair, but it's from the Olympic, not Titanic. Titanic deck chairs are very hard to find, obviously. So yeah, this is from the Olympic. And this one right here is from Queen Mary. I've got a lot of Olympic stuff scattered around here. This wooden panel is from Olympic. This is a piece of Olympic's promenade deck. As far as Titanic goes, I've got 2 things from Titanic. I've got a keychain with Titanic coal. This is pretty easy to come by. You can get those. This is one of my prized possessions, and it's a pen that's got a tiny piece of the Titanic's hull in it. So this is a tiny little fragment of the big piece that they brought up back in the 90s. So, but yeah, so that's what this is. Yeah. That's the biggest Titanic artifact I've got. So, but yeah, deck chairs from Titanic, as I'm sure you can imagine, are extremely rare, and I don't know if any exist in a private collection. To be honest with you, I don't know if any do. Okay, we got that. We got that. Thank you for the super chat. We got 5 from Crazy. Thank you. What other White Star and Canard ships are your favorite? One that is not part of the Olympic or Mauritania class, whatever ship you choose, and why? What are other White Star or Canard ships that are my favorite? I think the big 4, the Baltic, the Adriatic, the Celtic, and the Cedric. I think they're really, really cool. The Oceanic class is one that I really like because they were they were revolutionary ships for the time period, all of the Oceanic class vessels. Canard Line, probably the Campania or Yeah, it all depends. Hold on a second. Let me see. Yeah, that one. Okay, I got it mixed up. But yeah, the Carmania, because of the whole incident with the German ship that it encountered. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I like them. I like them all. I think they're all really cool. They all have very unique stories, and I really like how they revolutionized ocean liner travel for the time period. I'm not as familiar with all the Canard ships as I am the White Star ships, but I think they're all cool. I think they are all very, very beautiful vessels. We got that one. We got that one. We got 5 from Alex. Hey, Alex. Hope you're doing well. As we all know, Titanic turned hard to port. What do you think would have happened if they turned hard to starboard or hit straight on? So, well, if they had hit it, that's hard to say because it all depends on what Murdoch was seeing at the time. That's what it depends on. So I imagine Murdoch tried to turn the ship, hard to start. If he tried to turn the ship to port because the Titanic was closer to the port side of the iceberg than the starboard. So maybe if he would have turned to starboard, the Titanic would have struck the berg like directly. It would have been more to the side, but the ship still would have hit the berg head on. But if it was not in the middle, but the bow of the Titanic would have, it would have hit the berg. It might have grounded on it a little bit. And if it would have hit head on, it all depends. So on that note, with me thinking about it, okay, if he had turned hard to starboard, okay, and the Titanic was turning to starboard, and he hit the edge of the starboard berg, I was gonna say it might have been possible, if it was just a tiny outcrop, just a little flat part, and the Titanic kind of went over it. Maybe the Titanic would have survived, but based on the damage it got on the port side, I would have to think that if the Titanic grounded at all, it would probably do a lot of damage along the bottom of the ship, and then it would have flooded down there and everything. But then again, the Titanic had a double bottom, so maybe it could have held up. I don't know. Let me tell you what I'm imagining. I'm imagining a scenario where the iceberg, just pretend my hand's a flat part of the berg, and I'm imagining a scenario where the Titanic was turning and it grounded a little bit on the berg and just kind of went over it, like that. But it all depends on how strong it is and if the berg would crumble away, which I don't think it would. Yeah, that'd still be bad. Yeah, that would still be bad. I don't think that would work. I don't think that would work out too well. If it hit the berg dead on at the speed that it was at, I think the ship would suffer massive structural damage. But something? I love doing these thought experiments. I love trying to think through all these different scenarios. If this happened, then this would happen. If this happened, then this could happen. But when you start going down that road, there's 1,000 things you have to think about and consider and everything like that. And I'm just ugh. But yeah, it all depends. It all depends on a large variety of factors. Thanks for the 5, Alex. Thanos 5, thank you. Thanos, you don't have the Infinity Gauntlet, do you? Hello, thank you for reigniting my passion for the Titanic. No problem. Thanks for being a supporter of the channel. Quick questions. What are your thoughts on raising parts of the Titanic wreck? I've talked about this before, and I've always liked how they've done it. They're raising artifacts and stuff like that to preserve the history and tell the story of those who were on the Titanic, but they leave the actual ship alone, because the ship's a tomb, so they need to treat it with respect and everything like that, and, honor it, it's a good way to pay respect to those who lost their lives that night, raise artifacts from the debris field. They only gathered stuff that was thrown from the ship as it was heading to the bottom, which I'm that's good. But we need to face the reality that we're losing Titanic. Titanic's falling apart, and if we don't recover any artifacts from the ship, then that history is going to be lost forever. And I, just speaking for myself, if I was a Titanic victim, and there was something on board that was connected to me, I would have no problem with them recovering it to preserve my story. Because they were talking about trying to get into the Marconi room and raise the radio. And I would love it if they would do that, because the radio is a big part of Titanic, and it's the story of Jack Phillips and Harold Bride, So don't gut the ship. Don't take everything out of it. Don't destroy the ship. But like, if you want to take a few things out of it to preserve huge parts of its history, I don't really have a problem with that. Not now. You know, I mean, we're losing Titanic, you know, and if we don't save some stuff, then it's going to be gone forever, you know? So just treat it with respect. Don't take everything. But if there's a couple of things here and there, I don't really have a problem with it. That's my thoughts. Preserve the story, you know, as long as it goes to a museum. That's also key. Like, don't get the radio out and then sell it for 10 million and have it go to some rich person's private collection or something like that. Wish to thank you. I wish I had a room big enough to fit the deck chairs. Yeah, they take up a lot of space. This whole this space